All right, everybody, welcome to this session. And in this session, we're going to be talking about professionalism. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, some excitement going on. Cool, so let's do this as per usual. The presentation is by, oh, look, it's me sharing my own screen. Here, hold on, let me do that. The presentation is from Prezi, and let's take a look at it. I'll leave the link down below. And here it is. All right. This is not a presentation that I made. This is a presentation that is online. So we're going to work with the resources that we have. This is called Professionalism 101, or our topic for this week really is becoming more professional in the workplace and having those attributes that will help us carry out our intention of getting better jobs, of doing a little bit better and continuing forward. Yeah? Cool. So which group of people is more professional? What do you guys think?
I think both. I mean, they both are.
Both are? Okay. Anyone?
If it's a job, if they're working.
I mean,
plan on work hard.
Okay, I like that.
you see the difference, maybe the attorneys.
Their attire is different.
The attire is different. What is it? Maybe you can see what the
They
difference.
could be attorneys.
Yeah,
So
they-
their speech are way different. than this.
Okay, but you guys are right. Both of them are professional because each professional, so exactly. So that was a trick question. Being professional entails a lot more than looking the part. So it's not just about the way you dress, it's the way you dress within that environment. Because if I walk in with an opera dress into a construction site, I will be very out of place, right? It would probably not be the most professional thing for me to wear. True? Okay. So it's not just about the way you look, it's the way it belongs into that. What does that job require you to wear, right? What does that job require you to dress as or look as? So professionalism is, these are other words that will also mean professionalism: able, ace, acknowledge, adapt, content, crackerjack, efficient, experience. This is from thesaurus.com, and these are synonyms. It's not synonyms. It's not synonyms, okay? They're not cinnamon rolls, but you guys get the point. Synonyms. Yes, exactly. It's the antonym of antonym. There we are. All right, so these are other words that you can use to describe it. So what happens is we have word associations in our mind, okay? So sometimes I perceive something, the same thing that you would perceive differently because for you it's associated with something else. For example, a very common example that I like to give is, can anyone describe bread? How does bread look like? Bread.
It's rectangular, soft.
Okay.
White and brown.
Okay.
Could be
It's
toasty.
bold to me. It's red. You talking about the color?
I'm talking about bread. Describe bread.
Oh, bread.
Bread, yeah.
Different shapes.
Bread.
Different shapes.
Different
Okay.
flavors.
Different flavors. Cool.
Moist.
Ideally, how does it look like? Rectangular?
Like a loaf.
Square.
A
rectangular
loaf, like a loaf? Okay. So how does bread look like in your home? Delicious. Okay. Does it always look rectangular?
No.
No, right. For a few of you guys, it looks round. For me, it's round, right? The normal bread that I would eat at home that I would consider like this is the typical bread would be pita bread. So for me, the image in my head of bread, depending on the language that I use, but the image in my head for bread is round. For someone else, the image that they have in their head for bread is rectangular. Yeah. So because we have different associations, because the words we have in our minds have different associations and images that we've created in our mind. And so we might perceive professionalism as one thing, whereas the workplace that we're going into expects us to have professionalism in a different way. Yeah. So keep that in mind as we going through. And this is why there's this list of words that you see up here, because hopefully this gives us a little bit more of insight on what professionalism actually means. Yeah? Cool? Sweet. Okay. So we're going to divide professionalism into 3 portions. We have appearance, behavior, and communication. So these are skills within professionalisms that we can hone and make better so that we are growing our professionalistic skills. Professionalistic, I'm going to go ahead and assume it's a word. All right. We're going to start with appearance. So appearance, what does a professional look like? Do you guys think that a professional has to always wear suits? No, right? Do they have tattoos?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes there are professionals that have tattoos. If they have tattoos, does it make them less professional?
No, as long as you're covered in the place of business.
Sometimes. And sometimes some businesses don't care,
It
right?
used to be a big deal back in the days.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a big deal back in the days. Now, not like it used to. But before you had the two that got that's not professional, you can be showing up like that, you can do it, you can do that. You know?
But now things have changed and things are different. So now if you have a tattoo, it really doesn't matter so long
Because
as
we're judging them because of that.
absolutely.
And when it comes to reality, do the test, do the work, and like that, wow. Wow.
Absolutely. So sometimes they should wear suits, sometimes they have tattoos. So there isn't a particular look, right? There's just some ground rules that we need to cover. So when people talk about professional dress, they're talking about suits and ties and sensible shoes. Not in general, that would be the case, right? But that is not always true. Okay. Again, if you don't walk in with hard shoes to a construction site, you are probably not professionally dressed for that work site.
There's something wrong with
I have a
this.
heart.
Oh, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
Oh, can you turn off the lights? The other one. No, click it once, the back one, just click it and hold it from the bottom. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry guys.
Thank you.
I'm looking at my screen and I didn't realize that you guys' screen can, it's really dark. Okay. So, but what you do need to know is the general things that hopefully is just reminders at this point. Okay. Make sure everything, you're clean, your dresses, your dress shirts or whatever, your pants are not wrinkled. Dress comfortably so that you're able to work the entire day. Don't dress offensively. If your shirt says something that it shouldn't say, or it could be perceived as offensively, don't wear it, right? These are just things that I think everybody knows and everyone agrees on. So just be presentable, be the best version of yourself. And the way, unfortunately, the majority of time we judge a person by how they look, by their appearance, right? By what brand they're wearing, by all that stuff. That's not always the fun part, right? It's not always cool. Hello. So it's not always the right thing to do, but if we dress appropriately, then people will perceive us differently. And within a job context, that can be the way you get a promotion. That can be the way you grow within that company. Yeah. So keep in mind that your bosses may not just be looking at the skills that you have, they may look at the presentability and everything else that comes with that. Cool? Awesome. All right. But people ask me to be professional when, even when sitting around in sweatsuits. What does that mean? Okay. If you're wearing sweatpants, it probably is not the most professional looking thing, unless you work for a gym. Yeah. Cool. You want to be comfortable. You want to dress nicely. But you also want to be able to present the best version of yourself. And I think that's very self-explanatory, right? Any questions on appearance? Anything on your minds? No? Okay. Let's talk about behavior. To be a professional, you also have to act like a professional. Just like there are certain times where a certain behavior is accepted and tolerated. In the professional setting, there are also certain behaviors that are expected and certain behavior that allow you to grow. And if they are not there, it kind of hinders your ability to grow. It may not be the biggest thing in the world. It may not be a big deal, but if we change a little bit of the way we're behaving and our attitudes and things like that, then we are more likely to grow in ways that we didn't expect. I literally was just listening to this book actually on my way here, and this book was talking about something called the compound effect. And within that, he was talking, or the author was talking about these three guys that each did a very small habit every day and for 31 months. At the end of the 31 months, the person who was, for example, decreasing their calorie intake minus 131 calories, which is just like a bowl of cereal, ended up losing about 33 pounds after 31 months. The person who added 135 calories to their diet ended up gaining 66 pounds, right? So it seems like such a small thing that they changed every day. Thank you so much. It seems that it was just such a small thing that they changed, but that small change compounding over the months ended up changing everything for all of them, right? So the small things that I'm sure all of you are extremely professional, and when you're in the workplace, you give it your all and you do your best. But little things can go a long way. So, and it's up to you, because everyone here is at a different level in their professional life. You have to think, what are the little things that I can add to my personality, to my skill set, that will help me advance over that next 31 months, right? Because within 5 months, it's hard to see that, it's hard to track that change. You'll start to see it, but it's hard to track it. So over time, if you are consistent with that behavior, what are the things that you can change within that behavior that will cause you to grow in your field? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes? Are you still awake? Good morning. Yeah, okay. All right. 10 basic principles of professionalism. This is from the National Service Learning Clearinghouse. Reliability, we kind of mentioned a few of those yesterday. Reliability, which is excellent attendance, punctuality, trustworthiness, follow through, commitment, initiative, following instructions, adhering to schedule, and respecting confidentiality. Again, if you say you're gonna come to work, come to work. Be here on time. And those skills start today. And obviously most of you guys are here and you are ready to work by 3, which is great, right? This is how we start training our skill sets. Okay. But even when you don't have to, when no one is like there over your shoulder, making sure that you clock in at 3, still be there at 3, still be punctual, right? Be trustworthy. I know all of you guys are. Is just act on it in places where it doesn't seem like it's just a friendship thing. Okay? It doesn't, a lot of times when we talk about trustworthiness, we think just of our close group of friends, right? Or our community. I only serve my community. But within a workplace, if you become that dependable person to anyone, you get that skill of trustworthiness, I guarantee you that you will grow in your field. And again, if you committed to something, follow through with it. If you cannot follow through with it, that's okay. Just make it known to your boss. Let them know that, okay, I asked for this task, or I'm working on this task. Unfortunately, because this, and that, I won't be able to accomplish it by this time. It's okay to have these conversations. What's not okay is just to say, oh, I can't, like, and it's done and it's not gonna work. All right, cooperation. You want to be able to work with each other. So so effective teamwork. We talked about this yesterday. Understanding one's role and responsibility as a team member. And by the way, you guys, when we're doing these slides, this is probably the time to take notes. So if anything stands out to you, make sure that you're writing it down. The reason being is that the more you are exposed to a certain idea in your mind, the more connections it will have in your long-term memory, and the more you're able to retrieve it when you need it. Okay? Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to continue to add new information. And as we add new information, what's in the long-term memory is just going to go away. So the more connection you have to it, the more, if you hear it, you write it down, then you go back and say it to someone else, teach it to someone else, that will solidify it in your mind. So again, you don't have to write word by word. You will have this on YouTube. We can go back and watch the lectures later, but be mindful of the things that stand out to you. Cool? Because every person is going to be a little bit different. All right. Attentiveness, mindfulness of safety, quality, and productivity. Be present in this moment. I know sometimes we have a lot of worries on our mind, but in any project that we set our mind to or set our hearts to, excuse me, if we set our mind to it or set our hearts to it, if we are attentive and present, we're able to accomplish a lot more. And the worries, whatever it is that you're worried about right now, it can probably wait, right? For your sake. What is it?
I need to get the pen out.
You want a pen?
I got one. Thank you.
All right. Questions so far? Yes, no, maybe? Okay. Honesty, y'all know what honesty is. Respect for others, courtesy, attentive listening, appropriate language, right? We want to respect others as we would like to be respected ourselves. Okay, we want to be talked to others as we would like to be talked to ourselves. So just be mindful of the language, and also the language that we use. Really, the word choice that we choose to use in a sentence can change the way people think of us. And again, this is the quality to grow in your work. It's if you walk into an interview with confidence and with the right attitude and with the right words, you will get that job. But if you walk into that, even if you're super skilled and you walk into an interview and your words don't match what they want, they will not hire you. And the whole concept is to be hireable and build a career and build a future for ourselves. Yeah?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So like on some interviews, there's different people interviewing you. So how do you know when to use the right words?
So the right words are they're not directed at a particular person. So we'll talk about the interviewing process later on, but they're not directed at a particular person. It's almost like in our normal life or in our day-to-day life, we may use a lot of slang words. And to appear more professional or to sound more professional, I would say avoid slang words, regardless of who the panel is. And also believe in yourself, right? Walk in there with confidence. Even if you don't get the job, walk in there with a lot of confidence in yourself. Because one thing that I see all the time, and sometimes it happens to me, is that I don't think I'm worthy, right? They can find someone better than me, especially if you've had a lot of experiences in the past and you are now doubting yourself. And on the first lecture, we talked about the gremlins, right? Remember the video when we talked about shame? Well, if those voices in your mind are saying, you're not good enough, you can't do this, someone else is better than you, you're a sham, right? Silence those voices, okay? Because you should strive for the stars and you should get there. Even if you're, shoot for the moon, and you might end up landing at the stars or something of that sort, right? Okay, that begins with changing our words to what that level of standard needs so that you can actually get that job. Does that make sense? Okay. Other questions? All right. Ambition. So hardworking, self-discipline, self-motivation, that's what ambition is. Okay. You're here in this class today, which means that you're ambitious enough to continue and that you see a hope. And some days, you guys, you won't feel it. You just won't feel it. That's the truth. Because feelings, they fluctuate. That's the reality of it. So, you have to make the choice to be ambitious every day, even when you don't feel it. Responsibility, fairness, flexibility, and willingness to serve. So what? Let's find out together. Communication. How do you communicate? Oh, sorry. All right, whether you're tweeting, sending smoke signals, or leading a meeting, how and what you communicate is important. Cool. So regardless of the medium you're using to communicate your point, what you say and how you say it makes the biggest difference, okay? If you know that if you're talking to your mom the same way you're talking to your friend, you're probably going to get slapped in the face, right? Don't talk to me that way. Okay? No. Not condoning violence. I'm just saying. And so you've learned at a young age to, when you're talking to your mother or when you're talking to your parents or you're talking to an authority figure, to speak differently than you would to your friends, because how you say it matters and what you say matters. Same thing when we come into this professionalism and into jobs and into workplaces. So be timely in your message and your communication and your delivery, right? So if someone sends you an email, try to respond to them within 24 hours or as soon as is necessary for that job. Don't delay it 3 weeks from now when it needed to be sent out 3 days after the message was sent. You know what I mean? So be timely. Sometimes we have this tendency to procrastinate or push things to the side, especially the little details. I don't know about you, but details trip me up. Does anyone else feel that way? I feel like the little details get to me. Yeah? Yeah, it's really like annoying. So I have to get on myself to schedule a time, whether it's every other day or every day, to say, okay, this time frame, this is when I will deal with the little details that are bothering me. Like there are times where my mom would say, call the health insurance, and I would leave it for like 4 weeks. Has anyone been there before? Right? I see some heads shaking. We don't want to do that. Not in a professional setting. Okay? We want to be timely with our messaging and our communication. Don't be offensive. Okay? If someone's talking to you, don't crack your mama jokes. Okay? So you know the way it is. You know how important communication is. So brevity or short messages are sometimes really helpful. Okay? Straight to the point, exactly what needs to be said. It doesn't have to be an entire narrated story. People don't have to know the story of my life. So sometimes small incremental messages are kind of the best thing, which takes away offensiveness as well. Be aware of who's hearing or reading what you're communicating. So for example, if you're sending an email on a company email, they have access to your email. This isn't like a private conversation between you and your buddy. The company has access to view all of your email history. So just be aware of that. If you walk into a room or a meeting or an interview for that matters, try to figure out before, if that's possible, who's going to be on the panel that's interviewing you. And my 2 cents, look them up. Find out who's actually there. What is their position? And what kind of things can you find about that person that will help you address them correctly? Yeah? That's my personal tip. So if I'm ever interviewing, that's what I do. I try to find out who's going to be on the panel that interviews me. I look up these people, find their LinkedIn, see what kind of things they're posting about, what kind of things they're interested in. And then I walk into the room knowing who I'm talking to. And it's fairly impressive when you walk in and say, "Hi, John," right? Or "You must be John." Okay. Don't make it creepy though, guys. Just saying. Tippy toe that line. All right. All right. All right, that's this is from the Prezi. Okay. Don't communicate this is from this lady. Don't communicate anything you don't want this adorable little lady to hear. It's funny. Those are from the people who made the presentation. Okay. Do you think she wants to hear swear words? Or she wants to hear you whine or disrespect other or talk back? No, right? These are the things that you should be mindful of. So when sending your email, when talking to your colleague, make sure you're not cursing at anybody, make sure you're not whining, make sure you're not disrespecting people, make sure you're not talking back. And the concept is not to follow rules. The idea is if I don't do this for my sake, it's better. Even if I internally really want to curse that person out, right? I really want to yell at that person who's really disrespecting me. I have to behave with respect because what began as my right to react will have a flipped table and it will turn on me if I behave disrespectfully. If I behave the same way they are behaving, right? Does that make sense? So it's not about following rules. It's about what is the best thing for me. And the best thing for me is to make sure no one in my work environment ever hears me say anything bad, ever hears me disrespect others, or ever hears me talking back to others. We can get what we want and what we hope to achieve through other means and through proper communication. Because more often than not, when we're calm and we're collected, we're able to send the right messages to the right people, right? Everyone's been in there where in a situation where your colleague thinks they're the boss. Yeah, but they're really just your colleague. Yeah, no? All right, people with different experiences than myself. I'm just gonna move on. Interact with me, or else I'm gonna sit there and cry. Wait for it. Okay, not right now. Hold on. Thanks. Okay, guys. All right. All right. So we can tell you from personal experience that she doesn't. So that's the response to that question. I still have water on my face, guys. All right, so let's put this into context. You're attending a student organization meeting or a work meeting in our case. How do you look, act, or communicate? What do you think? Ooh, sorry. Any suggestions? If you're attending a meeting, how should you act? What should you wear? If you're attending a professional meeting, what should you wear?
A suit?
A suit? Pajamas?
And a blouse.
A blouse? Huh?
Just like
Pair of slacks.
a casual dress shirt and slacks.
Casual dress shirts and slacks. What is it?
Casual attire, like a blouse with a nice skirt, closed in if you're going to an interview, I would wear that.
Absolutely. Nothing too revealing, right?
No, but kind of like.
Exactly. A nice summery dress, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't put it in summary. You have to be careful with the colors, I think. You
Yeah,
want to
maybe.
go and pipe in yellow and it's, would you? Yeah.
I would.
You-
I personally would, but
I think
that's.
navy blue, maybe beige. I don't.
Those
know
are good.
what-
No, these are really good colors. I like it. I like what you're saying.
They're like all pleasantly plump and be like, ah.
Well, But also I have a very loud personality. So, I don't know if the color scheme is nice enough to wear together. So, um, like, um, like a bright neon yellow is probably not a bright neon yellow full suit, for example, is not something that I would wear to a meeting,
Okay.
right? But a soft yellow dress with flowers would probably be something that I would wear, like a colorful pink or,
Okay.
so you can wear something that shows your personality, right? But nothing that is too revealing, nothing that is too outlandish. Like I'm not gonna walk in with a hat that is like this big, right? You don't want to do that. So slacks, some nice shirts, dress shirts, even a casual shirt with appropriate pants, maybe khakis, but tucked in with a belt. Those are things that would be good for a meeting, right? How should you act? Should I put my feet on the desk? Probably not. Okay. Sit up straight. Yeah. Any other things that you can think of, little things? Obviously, you're not going to put your feet on the desk, but what can you do?
You're not confident?
Confident, attentive, right? Pay attention, maybe nod a little bit. Not that you're falling asleep, but nod that you're actually paying attention and listening. Yeah.
Be mindful of who you're talking to and where you're at. Use the tone you would want someone to use with your mother, perhaps.
Absolutely. I would say a lot of times we tend to fidget and fidgeting, and I do that too. Fidgeting displays lack of confidence, and you don't want to do that, right? So try not to fidget so much. Okay. And how should you communicate? What do you think?
Honestly and open, but don't give too much. It's better to answer what's being asked and stay in character, stay in nature of what the conversation is.
Absolutely. And it's okay though to voice your opinion, right? My thought is never shy away from voicing your opinion, but do it in a manner that is respectful. Yeah. So just because you work for a company does not mean they rule over your life. Your career does not equal your life. You are valuable because you are a person. So you are intrinsically valuable. You are so within you, that's what intrinsically mean. You are intrinsically important. And because you are important, you should be able to voice your opinion. Okay, just do it in the right place at the right time with the right form of communication. And always, and this is my personal tip, always remember that your career is not your life. And that if you lose this job, just like you were able to get this one, you'll be able to get another one. Okay, as long as you're not losing it intentionally, as long as you're not losing it because you are messing up so much. Does that make sense? Like if you're being lazy and thoughtful and this is like the 7th opportunity you've gotten and you're still throwing it away, which I don't see anyone here doing that, then it's probably your fault and you have to change something within you so that you don't fall into that same trend. But if you are dedicated, you're doing your work, you're doing what needs to be done, and you are hardworking and all of the 10 skills that we just talked about, if you're really, really working at that, then losing a job should not impact you in a way as if you just lost your life. Does that make sense? Yeah? Because you hold those skills. And as we said yesterday, no one can take away your knowledge. Okay. If you're attending a meeting with the university president or the CEO of your company, how should you look, act, or communicate? What do we think?
I think we should be assertive, not too aggressive. There's a thin line between both.
Okay. Assertive. I like that. Anything else?
The way you dress, I would think too. How should we dress?
Okay, so dress more appropriately than you. So for this one, it could be casual because it's your meeting with your peers, right? For this one, It's like, if I get a speeding ticket and I'm at the court, I will not go in sweatpants or in, khakis. I'll dress up, right? I'll dress nicely. And this is the same thing. You're meeting with the CEO of your company or the president of the university. You're meeting with someone who has a high authority, and you want to dress to that standard. So it's not because that person has authority that you should respect them. Obviously, we should respect everybody regardless of who they are. But think about it this way. You're working really hard to grow in your life, right? Yes? Yeah? Okay, so you want to get to this level. Now, the university president or the CEO of the company has gotten to this level, which means that they worked from here all the way up here. You're now working from here all the way up here, right? Yes? So to meet them, they can't come down here. You have to rise to their level. And that's why we dress and we talk and we think a little bit differently when we encounter people that have progressed more than we have in their careers and in life. Does that make sense? So it's not about them. At least if it's not about them, the motivation becomes within you. Okay, so you become motivated because you want to rise. And what happens when you do meet with people like that and you raise your standard, you understand that you are capable of rising to that position, so that when you do grow in your career, you know that I can get there. Because at that moment where I thought I couldn't, I went in, I met with this person, I looked exactly like they did. I behaved at their standard, at their level, and maybe even better, because the virtues that you carried within you, you carried them all the way to the top. Does that make sense? And so that would affect the way we act, we communicate, and so forth. All right, so if you're doing a job interview, again, how would you dress? You're hating this?
Well,
Is that what it is? What is it?
What job you're getting would be.
Well, regardless of what job you're getting, if you're at an interview, you dress nice.
Yeah.
Okay?
Formal to formal.
Exactly, formal. If you're
Like, say for a construction job, do you go in a suit?
Yes.
Yes. If it's a job interview, yes. After the interview, you get the job, you wear the blazer, you do your thing, okay? But walking into a job interview, you want to impress the person that is in front of you. And again, it's not about look, it's about attitude. Have you ever, it's gonna sound silly. The girls have probably had these moments where they felt really pretty. Like you have makeup on, you have your hair done, you're dressed up, and you just feel pretty. And you're like, I want to take pictures. Yeah, ladies?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. And there are days where you don't feel that way. You just don't feel pretty, right? And then you get up and you put your makeup on and you dress up nicely, and that changes your entire mood, right? Because sometimes that little change is not about impressing someone else. That little change in dressing nicely to a job interview gives me the confidence to say that if I'm walking in, looking my best, feeling my best, trying my best, then I will get that job. Even if I don't get that job, at least I would have tried my best. And just like doing your hair or your makeup changes the way you feel entirely about yourself, changing the way you look for a job interview can change the way you do that interview. And that happens more often than we think, right? A little bit of a confidence boost can go a long way. Okay. All right, so again, being professional does not mean that you can't be yourself. This is why when we talked about colors, I was saying that I don't mind walking in wearing bright, beautiful colors, right? Because that's part of my personality. But that doesn't mean that I may not do that in the interview. I may look more professional in other ways, right? But again, being professional does not take away from who you are as a person, okay? So be yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to hate that job. Being professional does mean that you're aware of you and how you look, act, and communicate, and make sure that it's appropriate for the place. Okay? Just like you change the way you speak to your mother, you can change the way and you are still yourself. You can change the way you speak within a class, within a work situation, and that will change the way you're perceived in that place. Okay? All right. All right. Conclusion: don't dress like a trash panda, but don't necessarily dress like a lawyer either. Don't act or speak in a way that is rude, impolite, or offensive. And remember that professionalism depends on context. And that is that. All right, my beautiful people. So let's do that one. All right, so that's it for this lecture. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you're here in class, we're going to talk about it in a minute. If you are on the video and you're watching this later, you can ask me questions down below. See ya.